start the recording now so that I do remember. So we're just waiting on.
I would be surprised if there wasn't a farm to tabletop brand or whatever out there.
Well, you know what I do know that's it's like a coincidence is there's a charity out there, and I believe it's called what the hell is it now? I'm not gonna remember it. I think it's called World Builders, and they work closely with an author named Pat Rothfuss. He's like kind of he did the Name of the Wind or something like that. I haven't read his books. I know him from doing D&D streams, and he's a very funny guy. But
His books are amazing.
Yeah,
both of them are amazing.
They're on my reading list at this point. They're like, as soon as I have some free time, like when it gets cold again, I'm definitely picking them up and reading them. But he does a thing where it's like they donate a cow or something to a family, or goats maybe it is.
Mm-hmm.
But like that, so because he grew up on like a dairy farm in Wisconsin, so he does all of his charity work, and it's all donated to like communities that want to start farms essentially. And I'm like, that's a really interesting freaking thing to put your donations to, from doing like D&D streams and having people donate to get random monsters thrown at them and shit. So let's see, you guys should be seeing the map right now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's go up here to the world map because that makes more sense. I'm gonna try and keep it simple this time for our overlay. So I've pretty much got just maps at this point. I'm not running like the green screen and stuff, or putting the face chat up. Like I can see you guys when I click on the window again, but that way I'm not like bouncing all over the place too terribly during this game of being able to see stuff. So I thought it'd be kind of fun, just as a time killer until everybody does get here, because I wasn't sure what everybody's schedule was going to be like, to kind of go over your guys' journeys. So, there's Bob.
Go ahead. Got our paladin.
The paladin
Volk has arrived.
Hey, Bob.
So yeah,
Hello.
What up?
Hey, Bob.
Let's see. So yeah, I just thought it'd be fun to show you guys what your trail has been here. When you first arrived on the Sword Coast from being initially teleported away, you guys arrived somewhere around here in the Neverwinter Woods and made your way west, down to Neverwinter. And from there, you, I believe, took the coast down to Waterdeep.
I just have to say, I just heard Indiana Jones music while you were doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. See, I love it. YouTube can't copyright they can't copyright strike our brain music.
That's right.
I'm trying to remember, you guys.
Yeah, so anyone watching, just think this song really hard.
Yeah, think it super hard. You went to the mud flats and found yourself traveling from there, I believe, to the Anarok Desert, if I'm not mistaken. Somewhere's in that area over there. So you guys have actually...
Sorry, I had to get up and change the volume on my television. What song are we not supposed to be thinking of?
No,
Indiana Jones.
You've got to be humming the Indiana Jones song really loudly in your head, because otherwise YouTube will copyright strike us.
I'll be honest. The first thing I thought, since we're in this weird white dragon thing, was Never-Ending Story when he rides Falkor. But whatever.
The entire time, somebody has to be up there. It's got to be Vanadia, because she's so excited to be flying again that she's going,
oh,
yeah,
yes, definitely.
Both work quite well.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna climb out onto the neck of this thing and ride it that way.
Absolutely.
Can you make the dragon say, Vanadia?
Yeah, you guys are lucky nobody was riding a horse in that mudflat swamp. That would have been awful. So, from Anarok, you guys have found yourselves back on your dragon ship, traveling south. and you you arrive in this area. I like this map a little bit better. Where did I put you guys? So, as you kind of make a survey of the area, you guys are going over in your head sort of some of the moments you've shared in this campaign. And, like, in my mind, this is like the clip show, like, segment, you know, where... So I was gonna do Nick, Dave, and Jen. You guys were, like, the first 3 that started playing, so... At this point, just kind of assume that, like, your characters are sort of like, hey, remember a few weeks ago when we were, like, what... Nick, what would your thing be that, like, Tohan would bring up?
Well, I mean, my dad's still dead right now, so
Yep.
I think his big focus is, like, getting a diamond, too, so we can cast Revivify on him. But I think I would probably recall, like, the, you know, going down in the... Jesus Christ, I forgot what the fucking called.
Lake Mother, the sewers.
Yeah, in the sewers, and kind of the, you know, the our adventures that we had down there,
Gotcha.
and where I got my axe.
Hey, you guys remember that time I got my sweet axe? Jen, what would Arianth bring up?
Probably the first time when her and Maggie got transported into that alternate game universe and first discovered everything with the staff. And to come back and find all of that.
Yeah, like, if it wasn't for that crazy wizard, you guys never would have met Reggie. And what about Maggie, Dave? What would Maggie's kind of recollection or little clip be for the clip show?
I think her focus is primarily kind of saving the kids still, and so she's probably thinking about the very first, you know, when they saw them during that ceremony, and how crazy it is, how much has happened since then, how much has changed.
Yeah, that's good. That's like a real Fresh Prince moment right there. You know what I mean? Like, that's going back, and she's got the music. It's got to be like you know, something real feels, real emotional.
Mm-hmm.
It's just thinking back. It's that sitcom music whenever you go over all the moments. Yeah, and then you guys would everybody kind of looks around like they're expecting Guilfoyle to drop a memory, and then you realize that you don't know where Guilfoyle is again. Bill said he was going to be probably about 7:30 or so. So, Bob, what would Valk's memory be of, since he has joined the campaign? Like, you guys remember that time?
Definitely playing the Growing Pains theme song to a lot of, like, clips of, like, starting with me getting stabbed by Gil, and how awesome everything has been since that moment.
Right, but it's like a comical cut to Guilfoyle's face, and he's like got that shocked, like, uh-oh face. Yeah. He's shrugging.
And then it like fades to the title card, and then show me that smile again, and it's just me.
Yes.
It's just me meeting the gods of death, and like. My wife is now singing the song in the background, so I'll get to listen to that on my own.
You getting hugged by a minotaur skeleton.
And hating it. And like that's another part of like where he hugs me and I do this thing like...
Yep.
Someone's reading the paper and it's Arianth and she folds it down and shrugs.
Alright, and what about you, Venadia? What would Venadia's moment be?
Venadia right now is just like kind of going through a montage in her mind of all the great times she had, that time that she got to ride on the back of a mechanical dragon.
So it's literally a flashback to right now. You just it goes into your head and it's just you imagining the moment that's happening.
Yeah, and then also on the screen is like a really crappy B movie, like Dissolve, like superimposed like boat rides and the airship before it crashed and all sorts of things like that.
Excellent. See, that's how you open a D&D game, folks. And again, you can literally thank the Fresh Prince for this because we've been watching a bunch of that, and they hit a clip show, and I was like, that's such a good idea. So, as you guys conclude, you're kind of reminiscing. You realize that you're approaching the area of Cormyr. Mokag Nut Smasher, your captain, who's still desperately trying to steer this thing straight. Even though you guys have mended it several times, and it's about as good as it's ever going to get, it's not the smoothest flight. And he sort of points out the one of the dragon's large opalescent eyes, and he says, "Seems like there's a bit of a gathering down there. Seems to be that army of undeads made its way south. There's a large group of them down there. What's that? Over there in the mountains, there seems to be a force gathering." And as you look out the window on the other side, or the eyeball window, I guess, you can kind of you can see what appears to be a group of Waterdavian military intermingling with a large number of Tyrell Marine Corps orcs. So it seems that they have made their way to the area as per Ashnak's instructions, if you were all separated.
Nice.
I'm going to do a quick scout about before we land. And as he flies, you kind of get a chance to survey the situation in the area. He points out to you that it appears that the cities to the east have been occupied by what appears to be Thayan forces. As you swoop down over these small towns, you can see wizards robed in red commanding small forces of undead to ransack houses and destroy people's belongings, killing people, murdering. He says, well, it seems that battle lines have been drawn across north to south. You fly over the city of Selgon. He tells you, yes, this is the home of the Sembian governors. This is where they convene to determine the laws of their land. They're mostly merchant guilds, sort of noble families, if you will, that lead these merchant houses. They've been at war with Cormyr for some time, but it's more of a stagnant war, a cold war, if you will. They'd place trade embargoes on the Cormyrian goods coming into their lands, and the Cormyrians block their trade routes going through the Lake of Dragons to the lands to the west. It's really nasty business. Been going on for several hundred years. Rumor has it that the nobility amongst both nations has been attempting a parley, some sort of a alliance, in lieu of our recent events with these undead rising up everywhere. But I don't know how long that will last. Any alliances between these two nations will most likely be tenuous at best. He continues to fly the dragon back west, and this has taken a few hours, but he's kind of insistent that you guys survey before he lands again. You're pretty sure that he just really likes flying this dragon around. As you pass over the city of Suzail, you see that it is surrounded on both sides by kind of high cliffs, as though this is sort of built into the walls of the surrounding mountains. And the only road in or out leads to the north. And he says, "Yes, this is the royal jewel of Cormyr. It's where they do all their centralized governing. They're led by a queen, Queen Raedra, I believe her name is. Long-standing noble house. They're more of a plutocracy, I suppose you'd say." And as he continues flying, you guys pass over a few more series of mountains. You see that many of the trails are occupied by people what look to be in mass exodus headed west. They're obviously fleeing at the rumors of the approaching undead hordes and trying to make their way into safer lands. Finally, you spot what can only be Kavizek the Bull and his hobgoblin and bugbear army amassing in the mountains to the west. And he definitely seems to be in control of a large number of these hobgoblins. So it seems that he has kept his word and rallied his troops to your aid. So, my question for you is, where would you like to have Mocagnut Smasher land this dragon? He suggests Stormhorn Mountains. Says there's a city, Highhorn, on the side of the cliff that may be of some service to you.
We're trying to like meet up with these wizards, right?
Hey guys.
Hey, Bill.
Hey,
Oh, guys, I found Guilfoyle. He's right here.
Okay, so at that moment, Guilfoyle pops out and shares his memory. So, Bill, what we were doing was like, if you were in a clip show on a sitcom, what would Guilfoyle's like flashback memory clip be for the campaign so far of something that he'd been doing?
He'd be looking at the bottom of Tohan's bag.
It just cuts to Guilfoyle, and he's just going through other people's things while he's sitting in Tohan's backpack.
Oh, absolutely. But everybody's things. The whole party stuff is in Tohan's bag.
That is true.
Excellent.
Maybe it might be in his bag now.
Well, you know, I have to store some of my extra stuff with you.
Yeah, Tohan, you keep finding random oranges in your backpack. You're like, what the hell? That's definitely part of it too when you do your flashback. It's got to be just you, like a montage of you handing people oranges at inappropriate times.
is there an inappropriate time for an orange?
I think some of the flashbacks were definitely stealing the candy dish from Lord Waterdeep or whatever his name was.
From Neverember, yep,
Okay.
Lord of Neverwinter.
And becoming a Marine.
Like saluting Ashnan. Excellent. So yeah, you guys have Guilfoyle. When you kind of pop out and you're like, "Hey, what's going on?" The party can relate to you that you've just taken a little tour. You've gotten a little briefing on the sort of state of Cormyr and Sembia. They were at war, but they seem to be in a tenuous alliance. The Thayans have apparently, you're not sure if they've joined forces or if they are just taking opportunity where it comes, and they seem to be also invading Sembia from the north and west. Malakani's forces occupy the area between the Anarok Desert and Cormyr, kind of bordering the Dale lands to the north. And your new ally, Kavizek the Bull and his Hobgoblin and Bugbear army, are to the west part of the map. And Ashnak and the Waterdavian forces are all in the north.
Okay.
So where would you guys like to land? Do you guys want to land in the Stormhorn Mountains? Would you like to check someplace else out on the map?
Where are the wizards that we're supposed to meet up with?
So you guys are interested in meeting up with the wizards at Cormyr. You had sent the Acquisitions Incorporated guys there to try to work out some sort of a deal with them in regards to this, to stopping these undead. And I believe that Omen Dran, the leader of Ak Inc., had sent back word that the response was mostly positive. Also, Dave, I believe you said something to the effect that you would have tried to reach out to Nexa, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So probably before you guys land, I would say, you get back a message that says, "Dear Mother Maggie, we're fine. Here in Grimwood. Grimwood, not so fine. Nexa needs help. Please arrive post-haste." Something like that.
I raise my head in concern.
Does Maggie have Maggie's still confused about what happened with the two of them, and is somewhat concerned that like the lich power might have taken over Nexa more than vice versa. Does she have any sense of like how reliable this transmission is?
Roll me a perception check.
Character. Nat 20 plus 5.
So you get a sense of calm coming from her that seems to indicate that she is relieved and seems to be happy that her and her brother are reunited. She doesn't seem fearful at all. The way she said like they've arrived in Grimwood, it makes it sound like just as a memory refresher, you had been told at some point that there were some of the druids from Naladzur that were able to help return Mexa to his natural state if he could arrive there. So perhaps they've already done the ritual. Perhaps she's confident they can do the ritual, but she seems happy and safe at this moment.
So as far as like what we need to accomplish here, I think we came to Cormier in order to meet up with those wizards and get them fighting Malakani. And then was there anything related to the staff that we're doing here?
Didn't I don't think but there was anything staff related, but didn't I pick up some sort of gem in all of this that was important? I meant to write it down.
Oh yeah,
I did not.
Yeah, the one that Agos is carrying, the pink gem.
And then I guess the other thing is we need, I would say probably first priority is wherever we're most likely to get our hands on diamonds.
Yep.
So we can bring Rohan back.
Reggie and you guys had identified that pink gem as a Soul Monger, which is odd because Reggie believed that there was only one in the world and that it had already been destroyed in recent history.
And there's several souls in it, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, you detected the presence of souls in it.
Soul Monger. Can you
Reggie
refresh what the Soul Monger is?
Yeah, as far as Reggie could tell you, it is something similar to the phylactery of a lich. Phylactery would be, if you're a Harry Potter fan, think Horcrux. It's an object that the lich's power is tied to, and by absorbing souls into it, the lich can become more powerful. He does not, however, think that this seems to be Malakani's phylactery. Or that it's actually a phylactery at all. It just seems very similar to one. It seems like it contains souls in a similar manner. Perhaps it's some sort of an odd one he's never seen before.
I think if I remember, I was also going to cast Identify to see if I could glean anything more about it.
Let's see, so Identify... Handy interwebs. Just reading a spell description really quick to see if specifics. Okay, it is a magic item. And it does not contain any sort of like a charge or activation. It just sort of is an object that exists. You do detect it. This is artifact level magic. This is like high end, like holy crap, it's powerful magic. Like this was probably created by like a level 9 or level 10 spell.
Does Identify say how to destroy it?
Yeah, can we crack it and blow it up? It was used by the Lich, so it's got to be bad. Let's destroy it.
Yeah, if it's holding souls, someone put souls in this thing.
Probably better the souls are left out of the crystal thing that we're holding in a bag.
Reggie says he is fairly certain that this is an indestructible object through non-magical means. Like, no sort of physical damage will break it. He does not
How about
know...
releasing of the souls?
He says if you can find a way to break it, it seems like the souls will be released and allowed to travel to whichever plane that they are destined to be on.
There's no spell that can release them from the stone without breaking it?
Elf, hit it with the stick.
Perhaps a wish spell? Wish seems to be a cure-all for everything. It's just a very hard spell to learn.
Does anyone on board? Yeah, Maggie's asking Grotag and everyone on board, kind of where are they most likely to find diamonds and find, I guess, advice on the gem.
Probably with the wizards in Cormio.
So is
Yeah,
that
I think that was part of the wizard. We were going to ask the wizards.
That's the little like cliff city, or that's the Stormhorn. Oh my God, Stormhorn. Where would we find them?
So there are... He says that as far as supplies, gems, things like that, I mean, both Suzail and Selgaunt would be, they would be good areas to purchase that sort of thing. You probably pay less in Selgaunt for most items. They're more free commerce and things. In Suzail and Cormyr in general, things tend to be a bit more expensive, but they are considered to be of higher quality. It is a known fact around the Dale lands in Sembia that Cormyrians tend to be a bit, judgy, he goes.
Where are the wizards?
Cormyr is the home of the war wizards that you are seeking. So they would most
in that city, the like cliff city.
Yep, they would most likely be somewhere around there in Suzail.
So we posed up in Suzail, get a diamond for Tohan, and speak with the wizards that have already been sort of softened up by Acquisitions Incorporated.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds right.
Why was it that he suggested landing on that mountain town?
Yeah, I forgot why.
He said that there was a town nearby where you guys could resupply or do anything that you needed to, without directly entering into like the big city. Someplace that was a little more discreet was his suggestion. But you guys are free to go wherever you want to go.
Like get off the dragon and walk in, kind of thing.
Yeah, because if you fly a dragon he's like, that's his logic, is that if you fly a dragon into a large, well-armed city, you might not fare that well.
That makes sense.
The Lake of Dragons is to the south. They should expect a couple of dragons.
Meredith also
if they didn't want dragons, why did they build their city next to the Lake of One?
Exactly.
You know?
Meredith
Didn't really
is
think
also
about that.
concerned about what's going on in Grimwood.
Oh, that's right. We have to go up to Grimwood too, don't we? God damn it! What a laundry list. Okay. Then I guess if they suggest the mountains, as long as the walk isn't treacherous, is there any way we could get closer to the city, like as close as we think would be safe, than land, like maybe near that forest?
What Maggie wants to do.
He says, I could land you down in the King's Forest. I can't guarantee that the City Watch wouldn't notice us. You might get a rather rude meeting in the forest.
So the mountains, huh?
Says the closest I could safely get you is to the very edge here of the King's Forest. That'd put you at about maybe an hour or two's walk to Suzail.
Let's do it.
I vote that.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Says, do you have a way to get a hold of me when you're through? I can go fly the dragon back up into the mountains to avoid having any of the city guard coming through and bothering it.
Did he say so you said he already dropped off Ashnak with the Waterdale folks? Waterdeep?
You saw the orc forces. I believe Ashnak and a few of the orc marines are with you guys right now, if I'm
Okay.
not mistaken.
So yeah, Maggie says I can get in touch with Ashnak as long as you're with him.
Ashnak kind of nods, like, fucking ain't right, flyboy. Okay, so he brings you guys down. Maybe a little dragon token down here. Can you guys see stuff okay on the map? I tried to make it big enough so that it wasn't.
Yeah.
Blurry to me, but
Little town names are blurry, but everything
Yeah.
else, it's like the
It's actually more in focus than normal, so I think.
yeah, it's better than yeah. That's a good one.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard to find good high-res maps sometimes. This one I was fortunate. This is like an older, like 3rd edition map or something, I think. So you guys are able to land there. He takes off, heads up to the Stormhorn. So you guys are in the King's Forest. So you want to head south towards Suzail, you said, correct?
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna head...
Oh, I should have brought up too. I said in the messenger thing, but while they were flying, Maggie was using her inspiring leader thing to talk everyone up and add 13 hit points to everyone. Let me look up that
Hot.
in particular. So including the folks in the dragon and maybe the dragon if that's possible. I don't know how much that matters.
Yeah,
13,
the dragon can get a little extra. You make the outer skin on it a little bit thicker, maybe, or something.
Cool.
Can
So
we-
it's 13 temporary hit points.
Can we say we did like a short rest on the dragon while we were traveling, or?
We
Yeah.
took a long rest, I think. I think that's what Zach said. 'Cause
Yeah,
I already
I think because it took a while to get from Anarok to here, you guys were able to kind of snooze on the ship. I know Valk and Arianth would definitely have gotten a long rest because it would have taken more than 4
Yeah.
hours. So we'll say, yeah, you guys all could have a long rest. That actually brings up a good point. Tohan, when you guys take this rest, you sort of have some strange sort of fitful dreams, and in it you hear Agos laughing, much like you did when you were a child, when he first attacked your village. And at the end of the dream, in this sort of weird, surreal setting, it's you standing there, and you're sort of watching yourself, and he's looming massively over you, and he screams out, "You took my arm, so now I'll take yours. Rot!" And then that's when you wake up from this travel. And then you guys go into your perky little, your flashback scene that you did.
Huh. If Tohan tells us about that, Maggie's gonna inspect his arm.
I mean, I think I would look at my arm to make sure, but
Your arm still looks normal.
yeah, if it looks normal, I'm fine. Weird dream.
Reggie asks you, Arianth. He says, "Miss, is there anything that I could tell you about Sembia and Cormier? They're quite familiar to me. Do you have any questions about perhaps their politics or their history or their commerce, or I can just look it up on Wikipedia."
Perhaps there are customs that we should be aware of that might make us notice in ways we don't want to be.
Ah, yes. Well, Cormier, they're, as I believe your good Captain Mokag told you, their queen is one Raedra Obarskir. She's of the, long line of Obarskirs that have been rulers in Cormier now for, well over 100 years, I believe since the 1300s. It was originally established all the way back in 1260 DR. It was during the War of the Regency in this area. But you don't care about that. Mostly what they deal in is they import various spell components, glass, spices, ivory, things like that, and much of their exports are things like armor and swords. They're they're very studious people. They work hard. They're predominantly a lawful country, although it is known that there are some smuggling rings that operate in the area. At least there were about 50 years ago or so. I'm sure there's still something like that around here. Predominantly, though, they, sorry, I'm looking for the actual... They tend to mostly keep to themselves, other than their minor bits of export. And as you were told before as well, they tend to frown upon visiting merchants from surrounding areas to some extent. So, as long as you're not trying to sell anything and you're just visiting, you should be okay. Oh, one thing that you should know, the city of Suzail has a strict curfew.
What is that curfew?
All people are to be off the streets by the time the sun has set.
Is there a list of laws and regulations that you can provide me?
Oh, I don't know if I have a current list of laws, but I do have some general guidelines. It is highly illegal in the city of Cormier to operate any sort of mind control magic. If you're found to do so, the punishment is death or banishment. If you are caught worshipping evil gods, the punishment is banishment. They do not take kindly to worshippers of such evils. Any of the old gods, for example, the cults that pop up around them.
Yeah.
You mean like Merkel?
So,
Yes,
so what
like
you're saying
Merkel.
is, so we can't, so no mind-controlled creatures and no worshippers of old gods.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, well, I mean, I have a good excuse for both of those things, so I see no problem.
Do we
I
still
thought
have
the law was absolute for you.
Do we still have the Minotaur with us?
I was gonna say Lenny.
You also still have the severed hand of Agos that's crawling around in Valk's pocket. It pokes up once in a while. Every time that it pops up, Lenny bops it like a whack-a-mole and knocks it back down into the pocket. Every once in a while, it pokes up and flips Lenny off. They seem to have a little like sibling rivalry thing going on.
Okay.
I asked Reggie if there's any reason we should be concerned about carrying Argos' hand around.
When you do you ask Reggie that, like, I'm assuming out loud, you just say, Reggie, is there anything we should worry about?
Well, I actually, now that you say, I say it quietly in my head to Reggie, as if seeing the hand reminded me.
Okay, so you ask Reggie that, and he's like, well, I mean, it's an animated undead hand. I don't foresee anything good coming from it being with us, but so far it doesn't seem to be aggressive.
Can the Lich trace us through, or can any of our enemies trace us through that hand?
Oh, I'm sure there's a manner of scrying that would enable them to do so, yes.
But if they can scry, then they can see us anyway, right?
Possibly. Usually there has to be a location item of some sort. I'm sure that hand would work quite well, as Agos is probably quite familiar with it.
Speaking of which, what are the stats of that sword I got?
Oh, Godspeed. Let's see if I have...
What was the thing that we did with... Didn't we do something with the crown to keep that from scrying? I wonder if we could do something like that with the hand.
I say we burn the hand and burn the Minotaur.
I could put anything that you need to keep away from us in the bag of holding a hand.
Can we put the Minotaur in the bag?
You have a bag of holding.
Well, that's where the oranges come from. It's not really a bag of holding, it's a bag of teleporting far away.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
if you want to try to throw the...
That
Go ahead.
bag essentially functions as a small dimension door.
To a spot where they hold a bunch of oranges.
Yeah, it's an orange warehouse.
An orange warehouse, yeah.
Can you shove Lenny in there?
The bag is probably too small for Lenny to be able to fit into. I mean, you might be
Okay,
able to, you might be able
I'll
to
tell Lenny to
disassemble
start-
Lenny.
That's what I'm saying. Just, Lenny, disassemble yourself so we can throw your bones in this bag. That's a normal thing that people ask each other in Dungeons and Dragons.
Roll me,
What about
Dungeons and
Dragons
Dragons?
here?
Like,
roll me a
This-
persuasion check with advantage, because Lenny kind of looks at you like he's giving you a look like, are you serious? You really want me to pull myself apart and stick myself in the bag?
I didn't stutter, but okay, I'll try to do this persuasion check. I mean, I am here on Question Master, and I can't stand the sight of you, so...
Yeah, it's not a very high DC. We'll say it's
Persuasion...
a DC 10 for this. It shouldn't be too hard for you to convince him.
Yeah, that's a 15 on the first roll. Let's see what I get on the second one. Well, the third... Yeah, so I'll take the first roll.
Okay, so yeah, Lenny kind of looks at you, shrugs, and unscrews one horn from the side of his head. It literally just unscrews, and then takes the other one off, and takes his feet off, sits down, and he's taking his leg bones apart, and he's shoving them into this bag.
Faster, Lenny.
He gets down to where he's just one arm, and he's pulling ribs off now, and he's sticking ribs in the bag. And he goes to pull the spine, but as he pulls the spine, he just kind of spins himself around in a circle.
Meredith raises an eyebrow and goes, damn, that's cold.
If you had to endure this idiot, you would feel the same way I do.
And then Meredith just shrugs.
The severed hand climbs down out of Valk's pocket like a little creepy hand spider and goes skittering over. And it actually grabs the bag and starts pulling it over Lenny's spine, pulling him into the bag, like it's enjoying watching him do this. So Lenny makes his way into the bag.
I bet that's going to make your oranges smell funny.
Don't forget to put the hand in there, too.
The warehouse workers are going to have a bad day.
Hopefully they won't notice this stuff there. But it is a door to the back of the warehouse, so... Hopefully no one will see it. Depends on what day they ship out.
Alright, so yeah, you guys are, you're now standing in kind of this glade in the forest, just at the edge, sort of near where the river runs down towards the sea, or towards the lake, sorry.
By the way, I'm hiding my hand that has the ring. Like, if I have, I don't know, pockets or something. I don't want them to see the ring. I'm going to see how well that does. This is going to be hilarious, so just putting that out there. And Dave, I'm sorry, you're muted.
I said Maggie's fully prepared to make the argument that the undead don't have minds, so we're still following the law as much as she doesn't care about that.
You should care a little.
Sorry
Nope.
about the zoom
No,
in and
not
out.
at all. Let's go.
Sorry, Bill, I was still looking for the stats that I saved here. I will find them.
Not a problem. Just let me know now.
So yeah, you guys begin the short march towards Suzail, and as you make your way, do you go along the river to make your way towards the city where there's kind of a clear path, or do you head out towards the main road?
I feel like whatever the shortest distance is.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys kind of follow the river path down then, and as you do, you see several fishermen, and they sort of look at you in fright and begin pulling their nets in and turn and begin paddling down the river.
Maggie yells out to them, "What is your concern? Are you aware that the undead army is approaching?"
What be you then? Some sort of lizard man? And he points at Tohan.
Yes, I'm a lizard person.
I've seen your likes up north in the moors before, in the marshes. Nothing but trouble, your kind. Not getting any of my fish today.
Maggie says, we have no interest in the fish. Don't worry, we're on our way to protect this land from the undead invasion, and my friend here has taken a central role in that.
What undead?
There's an undead army gathering to the north. There are armies holding them back, but they're encroaching.
That's what all them dragons about have been, eh? The purple dragons?
That's right. She doesn't know that that's right, but she's going with it.
Yeah, alright. That's when you guys are kind of by... Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit more. You guys are sort of by this intersection here, in the center of the screen. So you can actually see marching across the road at this point, a few hundred feet away, there's actually a small troop of what looks to be heavily armed soldiers, all wearing various shades of purple adornments. And he says, yep, there they are. You're worried about a few undead. Don't worry, the purple dragons will take care of us. Anybody thinks different's a traitor. They're gonna leave the land for a few paltry zombies. Puh. Now, you, why don't you take your ass back to the marsh, you weird-tailed bastard?
Maggie says, we bear you no ill will. The army that you're describing is much bigger than you seem to think. But make sure that you're behind the lines of the purple dragons if they approach.
Yes.
They're currently harvesting people and turning them into their army.
Well, if that's the truth, you'd best see the Lady Regent. Queen Raedra would want to hear about something like that.
Thank you, fisherman. We will.
He sort of eyes you suspiciously, and he's still picking up his stuff, and him and his kind of young son, they scooch off down the river, back down towards the coastline. So do you guys continue to make your way towards Suzail down the main road now?
Yep.
Okay. So as you approach the city gates, you hear a voice call out, "Hold! Who goes there?"
Hi, we're a bunch of adventurers. My name is Warden Volk.
Well, state your business.
We've come
We're here to meet wizards and get a diamond for our friend here whose father's dead.
and maybe trade some, and I shake about a big bag of platinum I have.
Traders, huh? Where you from?
More like buyers, but yeah.
We're not merchants.
Maggie says, we're here to meet with the leaders of the city regarding the undead invasion. We've been tracking and holding off Malakani and need, want to offer our assistance.
Malahui?
The Lich in charge of the undead.
Yeah, you'll find out soon enough.
So you say you wish to speak with the Queen. Well, you're fortunate she happens to be taking audience today. If you were here tomorrow, she'd already be on her way to the front lines to discuss with that sleazeball Miklos there what we're going to do about our little alliance they've decided we have. Not too crazy about this alliance, I'll tell you. Back when Grumpsh was in office, this never would have happened.
Yes, that alliance sounds terrible. Listen, do you have a list of laws and regulations for this city so that it's kind of it's really important to me and my religion?
Right, well, yes. First things first. Are any of you wizards?
Maggie
I'm
says
not.
no.
I cast Fist.
Maggie says no.
None of you are wizards.
No.
All right. Well, that's good. It's an extra step of paperwork. If you're a wizard in this city, you see, you've got to register with the magistrates. We don't allow any unregistered magic to occur within these walls. It's very important. In order to enforce this, we've enforced a curfew. As soon as the sun is down, everyone is to be inside. Vagrants and homelessness will not be tolerated. Sorry, I'm trying to remember what the other law was.
Mind control.
Oh, and he says, any use of mind control or mind-altering magics is strictly forbidden.
We would never.
Alright then. Well, as long as you're on your best, then go ahead and head up to Castle Oberskier. You'll want to get there fairly soon. I believe she's finishing up her audience in the next few hours. And he opens up the gate for you guys and allows you to come in. Closes the gate behind you.
We have no idea where the Acquisition Incorporated folks are, right?
Not currently, no.
Maybe Maggie asks on their way in,
You're
you know,
saying
describes those guys and asks if they have any idea where those folks are.
So yeah, you say to him, you know, you happen to see a bald guy wearing some black plate mail armor, big hammer. He says, "Oh, yes, I believe that's Lord Omendron. At least he said he was a lord something. Lord Ex Posthumous, something or other like that. I don't know. He made up some fancy legalese word for it. But anyways, yes, he arrived a few I believe it was yesterday morning, and he's actually been in audience with Raedra. Are you friends of his?"
We're acquaintances.
Huh. Very reasonable fellow. Help me out with my taxes.
We've done business with him. Well, we best be off.
Well, yes, nice day to you then.
Alright, so
That guy was a real chatty Cathy.
Lingerers, man. Ugh. So yeah, you guys come to this cliffside port city. Massive towers loom up out of the cliffside that rings to the east and the west of the city. And as you approach from the north, you see this massive gate that you guys are able to pass through. And you see what appears to be Castle Oberskier atop this large cliff. And unfortunately, this map is so large that it doesn't actually want to fit on the play table here. As far up as I can go. But yeah, you see this giant castle structure.
Alright.
I mentally tell Reggie not to speak out loud.
Maggie says we should head for the castle first and then immediately after find diamonds.
Unless we want to split up.
Yeah, and as you're walking through the town, the one thing that you notice is that in stark contrast to places like Waterdeep and Neverwinter, there doesn't seem to be any open-air markets here. Like, nobody's selling goods on the street. There isn't, like, kids running around, like, begging for change. It's all very, there's a few shops that have signs out in front that have set price lists in the front of them for very clear, you know, like swords, and then they've got, like, their prices.
This city sucks.
Yeah, it is a boring city. It is a,
I want to contact my travel agency.
Your travel agent?
Yeah.
This city is beautiful. I love it.
It's full of 1%ers, and the castle looks like a penis.
All of the, yeah, exactly. All of the stones.
Check.
Sounds
check.
familiar.
Great.
Wait, is Jeff Bezos the emperor of this city?
Yeah, it's the blue Oregon castle.
Shh, you guys are gonna spoil it when it shoots into space. You know what's funny though? I didn't actually think about that when I picked this map, so that worked out incredibly well. I kind of wish that I had intentionally done that. I would have taken this campaign in a whole different direction, and you guys would have been playing Spelljammer.
We're on the moon. We're on the moon now?
Yeah. Who the hell is Fusoya? Oh yeah, Final Fantasy.
Cutting deep here, Zach.
Yep, deep cut. But yeah, you do see that there are a few guards that are also wearing the same purple robes, walking back and forth, and there's a very steep trail leading up to the castle. You do pass a shop that says Gem Cutter's Shop on the way, so would you guys like to stop in and see if they have any diamonds?
Definitely.
As well.
Okay.
Well, hold on. So
We have money, right? I mean,
We all have money.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
lots of money.
let's
We're
buy
loaded.
some diamonds. Let's
Yeah.
prove it.
Let's get well over what we need actually.
Like
Wait,
3
yeah.
or 4, I would say. Yeah.
Let's ice our grills. We should all go in and ice our grills.
Yeah, everybody should put 300 gold piece worth of diamonds in their mouth.
Definitely.
I want Lenny to have diamonds shoved in his empty sockets by the end of this adventure. No, but in all seriousness, Dungeons and Dragons. Anyways, in all seriousness, so Nick Booth earlier said, "Why not split up?" I'm kind of with that idea because time is of the essence. When the sun sets, if we ain't inside, we're out on the streets, and then we're out of the town. So I don't know what time it is, but we might want to do that. One group goes to the castle and chit chats with the queen. The other group buys diamonds and gets in bar fights.
Oh yeah, and finds a place for us to sleep tonight, and we can meet back here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What time
All right,
is it?
thanks down.
Right now it's fairly
Zach-
early in the day. It's probably like 10 a.m.
Okay, never mind then. Whatever.
Oh, 10 a.m. God
You're
damn.
breaking up.
Well, yeah, because I guess we just did do a long rest, so.
Oh, yeah, screw it. Never mind. Let's all shop for diamonds.
All right. Well, the spell needs 300 gold pieces worth of diamonds, so yeah, I guess maybe let's get like 1,500 worth.
Alright, so yeah, you walk in and instantly you hear a very recognizable voice behind the counter. Oh, hey y'all, what y'all doing over here? And you realize that it is the barkeep from Neverwinter. And he is wearing bling. He's got diamond necklace, he's got a big gold chain on. He's got some crazy, like, adorned spectacles that are made out of, like, this rose-tinted kind of crystal. Well, geez, y'all look like you've been having a rough time since we last met.
Maggie says, "How did you get here in the past few days?"
Oh, well, I just took the underground through the Underdark. You see, I have a cousin that he's a deep gnome, and well, he gets his bus passes for free. You see, or his subway passes. So I was able to get here lickety split. Well, what can I do for you fine folks today? Anyways, we've got all kinds of things. You in the market for some sapphires?
Diamonds, actually.
Ooh, big spenders. Well, let's see what we got. And he goes in the back for a moment, behind this kind of this curtained area, leaving you all to stand alone in the front room for a few minutes. He comes back. Oh, can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, I can see
Yep.
you.
Okay. So he comes back from the curtained area, And he looks down and he says, "Oh my, now where did those sapphires go?" Valk, roll me a perception check.
Oh, eight. I don't know what that rustling is. I'm sorry, but if you heard me, I got an 8.
An 8. Okay. You kind of look around when he mentions the sapphires, and you do notice that the sapphires are in fact gone from the counter where they were.
Hey, where do those sapphires go?
You think that's strange? Guilfoyle, you can add 250 gold worth of sapphires to your inventory.
Absolutely.
He says, "Well, I seem to have misplaced some things. Anyway, let me take care of y'all first. So here's what I've got for diamonds." And he sets out a tray that has 95 very small diamonds on it. Like, these are diamonds the size that would go on, like, wedding rings. But there's a whole lot of them. And he says, "We got this. This here's a princess cut. This one here, this is a square cut. Now, what exactly are you all looking for here? Is somebody asking the young lady to marry them?"
These are for spell components. We don't care what they are.
Oh, spells. Well, I'm gonna need to see your wizard registration cards, please.
I put down 10 platinum, and I was like, I think we can skip that, don't you?
All right. Roll me a persuasion check.
This is good, because that is that's my forte.
Maggie subtly touches you under the counter and gives you a D4 guidance.
Okay.
Maggie never subtly touches me under the counter.
15.
She guides you right in the face.
Right. So Tohan,
that feels dirtier.
Yes, it does.
Well, you all are an interesting bunch. I suppose I could make an exception, he says. Slides the platinum over the counter and well, how much were you looking to buy exactly, you said?
Maggie pulls out her abacus and says, "We need 1,500 worth of your ugliest diamonds."
All right. So when Maggie says this, the bartender or the former bartender and current jeweler looks at you and says, "Oh my, well, I didn't know you were looking for wholesale. Okay, yeah, hang on just one moment here," and she pulls a scale out from behind the counter and begins tipping diamonds onto it. And yeah, she weighs out a bunch of these smaller diamonds for you guys. And gives you 1,500 gold piece worth of diamonds.
Nice.
Okay. I subtracted that from party treasure.
Okay. Yeah, you swipe your Waterdeep Platinum card.
Yeah.
All right. Maggie says, "Thank you kindly. Don't worry about the. There will be no unauthorized spell casting. This is just a purchase of diamonds, and we'll make sure you don't get in trouble in any way.
It's for novelty purposes only. We're collectors.
If we have to wait until we're outside the walls, we'll do it."
Listen, sweetie, I worked in Neverwinter. All right, you ain't got to tell me nothing twice about keeping things on the DL. For real. Well, I hope y'all have a great stay here in Suzail.
Back in a moment.
Yep. Guilfoyle hops into Tohan's backpack. So yeah, you guys, you exit the shop.
Maggie says, Maggie asks Tohan, "What do you think about speaking with the queen first, or should we try to find somewhere hidden?"
I mean, did we bring my dad in with us? Were we carrying a dead body with us?
Yeah, as far as I know, you've got the corpse still on the broom, right?
That's a good question. I guess because is Tohan's mom also with us? Or
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want, we can retcon it and say they stayed with the ship, or they can be with you. It's up to you.
Yeah, I guess they're with us. I mean, we didn't know that we weren't going to be able to cast magic in the city until we got to the city.
No,
So
we did though.
Oh, we did.
Well,
Oh.
yeah.
Reggie was telling us ahead of time when we were getting there.
Yeah.
Well, I think we can. We just need to we're supposed to register if we do.
All right, so let's hold off until they talk to the queen.
Yeah, for the time being, we can.
So should we just assume?
I was gonna say we could always say that Tohan's mother was carrying the sack, the sleeping bag with the body in it, instead of the broom. You're just carrying the broom or whatever. That's fine. I'm sure you guys could make adjustments for it. Like when they're like, yeah, no spells, and you're like, oh yeah, we don't have spells. You like drop the body. It's either that or the broom is weekend at Bernieing the dad around, so he's just flopping around, but it just looks like he's just walking really awkwardly. Like, don't worry about him, he's drunk.
Yeah, I mean,
Definitely.
if we
So the broom's upright, right? So
yeah,
like
it's just up
he's
the back
kinda
of his shirt. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, that's ideal.
he's just turning back and forth. His arms are flopping. Flip, flap, flap.
I mean, if we pass
Let's
him
just
in,
use
I don't think
back
the
at the
ritual will
ship.
take too long to bring him back.
Okay.
Or
Yeah,
do we need to be concerned that they can detect magic though?
I would say so. A
I
city
mean,
full
like
of
eye
wizards.
magic.
City full of
Yeah,
wizards.
I would-
do that.
I would think it would be best to assume that we left Tohan's father back with his mom, and we're going to bring everything back and do it
Okay.
where we know we're safe to do so, unless anybody disagrees.
No,
That's fine.
Yeah, I think we still have like 8 or 9 more days on the Jones of Repose, so.
Yeah.
yeah, it was
I
10,
mean,
10 days.
Walking
total.
around with a dead body would be a bit conspicuous anyway.
That's true. All right. Dragon it is.
Okay. So you guys also do see a large inn in the center of town that just it has a very plain black script sign that just says rooms for rent. The rooms are each 30 gold pieces. Very exorbitant rate for just a simple inn room.
We don't even know that we're going to be staying here tonight, so Maggie says let's talk to the queen first.
Okay. You guys want to head up to the castle then?
Yep. Let's go try to get an audience.
Europe.
Yerp. Okay. So
Now, is this where the wizards are as well, or?
Yes, this is where Cormier are known for the war wizards that are their highest ranked military officers. They're known to be fierce competitors on the battlefield with their various spells and zappy zaps.
In hindsight, I'm wondering if maybe we should have registered after all. But, well, we'll just have to explain that technically we aren't wizards when we get there.
Guilfoyle pipes up. Yeah, you guys definitely should have done that. I don't know what's wrong with you guys. Valk should have slapped you guys down for that.
Speaking
Hey,
of
Maggie,
I've
wizards-
you
been
what-
distracted lately.
Lying to the city guard, I'm surprised Valk let that go.
yes,
I thought
I'll be honest. This whole Avatar thing has really changed my perspective on a lot of things.
the wizard thing was literally like the class of wizard. Did they mean all spellcasters?
no, he said
Probably.
wizard specific is what he
Yeah.
said. He
Yeah,
did-
so
he didn't
we
say
got a
wizards.
technicality on our side.
You do have a
Yeah, I
technicality.
think we got a
No,
sorcerer and a warlock.
Trust me, no, I can argue a technicality. You're not a wizard, you're a sorcerer. The law clearly states wizards.
Zach is reading
Beautiful.
information that came before sorcerers and warlocks were all a thing in D&D.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if you're not going to
90% of my
update your
source
laws and
material is-
bylaws in a timely fashion, then I'm sorry, but you're going to have to suffer those consequences in a legal court. So, anyways, no, there's no wizards in this team. It's just one sorcerer, a priestess, and a paladin who is also the avatar. Oh, I mean, nothing.
I'm a celestial
Beautiful.
warlock that is... Well, never mind.
Yeah, I love that Guilfoyle almost never uses any of his warlock stuff. It's amazing. Like,
I didn't know you were a
yeah,
celestial
I
warlock.
don't even know if you guys are aware of this.
It's casually
Yeah.
also a celestial world.
I've cast several healing spells.
When? was
I
I,
too am just learning this.
was
Quietly
I
on
drunk or
himself.
asleep during this? Was this before I showed up?
No, I've definitely. I took it as like my 5th level thing. I took a level in a celestial warlock.
And just rip that right out of your bag of holding.
He has destiny, and apparently it's related to the god of murder.
God of murder, God of death.
So you guys, you're making your way up to the Castle Oberskier, and the guards stop you, and they ask you to state your business.
We're here to speak with the queen and the wizards about the undead hordes.
Oh,
Yeah, there's an undead horror that's plaguing the land, and we have to put together a magic stick. It's really complicated. Easier if you just let us pass.
right. You must be the bald guy's friends, and he just kind of thumbs you into the castle.
Nice.
We're not friends of his.
We're acquaintances. Colleagues.
Former business associates.
No.
This is the guard.
Yeah.
Does he have like a key ring?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna lift that off.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll stealth for me. Either stealth or sleight of hand, either one.
I think sleight of hand's more appropriate. 18.
Okay. Velk, roll me a perception check. I just want to see.
You know
if
you're
can,
gonna fail this.
I just want to see if you can
Yeah,
keep
I'm
up the
definitely
streak
gonna
of
fail it.
failing it.
I will fail hard. Perception. Yeah. Oh, I mean, come on.
Oh shit.
So Quattro. Of course he got away with it.
So not only did you not notice, you actually block the guard's view when he does it. I assume Guilfoyle just says, "Thanks, Falk," when he grabs the key and walks by. Like, yeah, no problem.
No. Just a few minutes later, I just like as soon as we walk in, as soon as we're out of earshot from that guard, I go, "Man, that guard was really reckless. He just left his keys laying around. It's a good thing I picked them up for him."
I shake my head and I say, I can't believe the laws in this town are so lax. Anyways,
A servant leads you up a massive flight of stairs that just seems to go on, and it actually takes you quite a while. It takes about 15-20 minutes for you guys to get up to the top of these stairs. And when you do, you see a large kind of open area, like a chamber that holds a large throne at one end with a small table near it. And sitting at the table is Omen, Jim, Viari, and Dinwin, the 4 Acquisitions Incorporated guys you have met. And they seem to be enjoying a meal. Jim is having doves fly about the room, and much to the delight of some of the servants that are bringing them food and stuff. And
Venadia groans loudly at Jim Dark Magic's trick.
And yeah, because Jim's being super cringy about it. Like, it's like somebody comes over to pour him wine, and as they're pouring wine, he's like, "Doves!" And there's just doves flapping in their face, and they're like spilling wine everywhere. And he's like, "Yeah, magic."
did one of the doves fly towards me?
I'll be right back, guys.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the doves are kind of they're flapping around the room. There's like feathers landing on the table. Omen like picks a feather out of his stew and like keeps eating.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna take a swing at the dove.
Okay.
Let's see if I.
AC is 18. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but I'm gonna say this dove has.
Well,
AC.
21. So I punched the dove.
Nice. So that you punch the dove, and it falls dead out of the air.
Good.
Maggie says that's one way to hunt, I guess, and picks it up.
Jim
puts it in her
sees
bag.
that and goes, "Whoa, Gertie!" He comes running over, picks up the dove, and he starts giving the dove mouth to mouth. Omen says, "Jim, sit down and finish your lunch." Jim kind of goes, and walks back over to the table and sits down with slams the dead dove down on the table, and then starts eating like he's really mad. Viari this whole time has been playing a tune on his lute and just singing softly in the background. The booming voice, female voice, comes out from behind the throne. Well then, come to warn us, have you, of the undead army, I suppose? Hello. And she steps out from behind the throne, and you see Raedra Oberskier, a young-ish, we'll say early 20s, with a short blonde haircut, kind of a Karen haircut, as it were. And she's dressed in the same emblem of the what the purple dragons were wearing. She has a large dragon and a shield on the front of her breastplate, and she has kind of fancier cloaks and little clothing than the other ones did. She says, "So Omen here tells me that you've been at war with a lich, and you've come to seek our help. Is that right?"
Yeah, we need all the help we can get.
Maggie says, we've been chasing the Lich since he kidnapped twin druids, and are uniting the living across the land to fight him back. We were told that you and your wizards would be a powerful addition to this fight, and we see that you've already sent your forces out.
Yes. We are aware of a growing problem, although Omen's allowed me to see the gravity of the situation for what it really is. You see, we have spies about the land. You know, as one does when they rule a kingdom. They need to know what's going on. So, of course, I send my spies out across the Lake of Dragons. I send them to Thay. I send them to Chisenta. I send them south to the borderlands. They all give me the same report. Armies of the undead rise. They try to attack towns along the edges of kingdoms and push farther in. How could one lich become so powerful so quickly as to control so many forces? Now my spies in Thay tell me that the Red Wizards have joined in the row and seem to be siding with the undead. It's not like them to be so open in their assaults. They tend to be much more subtle. This makes me think that there's something bigger at work than just simply a lich here.
Do we know who the Red Wizards are?
Roll me a history check. And, Arianth, if you want to talk with Reggie, he can let you know a few things about them as well.
Yeah. Sorry. I have too much player knowledge.
I got a 17 plus 3, 20 for history.
Okay, so yeah, especially being from Chisenta, you would know that Thay is a continent to the north of Chisenta, and that it is controlled by a group of wizards that are very powerful, and they are known to control certain trades throughout the area. In particular, they are almost exclusively in control of an item called flash powder in the realms. In other times, there were stories of flash powder being used to great effect in war, and you've actually seen some of the legacy use of it with Munley. Like he uses a form of flash powder that he creates for his pistol. So essentially, they sort of have a monopoly on gunpowder in the world. They are also known to ally themselves on occasion with the Zentarine.
I mentally ask Regia to tell me, without speaking aloud, what he knows.
Reggie would be able to tell you that the Red Wizards are also, according to most information available on Wikipedia, run by a lich of unknown name. He seems to be a secret ruler amongst the Red Wizards.
I let everyone else know what I was told.
What's his name?
Reggie says, it seems to be obscured from texts. He's gone to great lengths to remove himself from the internute.
That's just me as a player messing with you.
I do have a name for him, but I didn't write it down on my liches. I just wrote Red Fey Lich.
The head guy's like Terran Vol, I think.
I don't remember.
So does Maggie know whether? So the Red Wizards are typically kind of evil lines.
Yeah, like as far as you know, they've caused problems throughout the realm. Sort of a scheming group, always looking to gain power, always looking to gain territory.
Maggie tells the Karen lady that they've heard that other liches have also joined, and it's not just Malakani.
She says, yes, I suspect something like that's going on. Well, Omen here tells me you have a force of Water Davians with you to the north.
And a force of hobgoblins and orcs to the west. And the insect guys in the desert are also fighting back the undead.
Interesting.
Maggie says, my concern is that all of these skirmishes will only feed the ranks of the undead unless they're coordinated and unless we take out the head of this whole uprising.
Yes, guerrilla tactics will only work for so long. As you say, it'll bolster their ranks. The more of these, I assume you speak of the Thrycreen to the north and Enarok, and you said there's hobgoblins. How on earth did you get hobgoblins to agree to go to war with the undead?
Maggie says, my lady Hestia represents all life, not just human life, and is guiding us in our effort to fight back the undead.
Well, it's good to know that there's gods on your side, I suppose, she says.
Yep, we have Kellamvor on our side.
Yeah,
too.
Maggie cuts him. Maggie cuts him right off.
Yes, and just tell him poor.
and says this Malakani has caught the attention of many gods, but his power has taken even gods by surprise.
Yes, it's not the
It's
first
the duty
time.
of all living to fight the undead.
It's not the first time in history that a lich has tried to ascend to godhood. I wonder what other forces he has mustered throughout the world.
Well, he's got a green dragon.
You don't say.
I mean, he doesn't get along with him very well, but yeah, he has a green dragon.
He's got a one-armed dwarf.
A one-armed Durgar,
A one-armed Durgar that blew himself up.
maybe.
Bum, bum, bum. Yes, well. So tell me, what plan do you have to stop this army of the dead?
Maggie says we've worked with a group of orcs cursed towards good to rescue the kidnapped twins, and are trying to remove the power that he's sought over them in the woods of Grimwood at the moment. We're hoping to get all living armies aligned and coordinated against the undead, and we're hoping that the wizards will help us target the heads of this whole uprising, Malakani and whoever else he's working with.
Well, it would be for shame if our world were to be overrun with these foul creatures, that's for certain. Of course, Cormier will help you in your quest. However, We are currently in a bit of a bind. You see, for many years we have been a standing sort of impasse with our neighbors in Sembia. You see, the Selkirk family, the lead governing family of the merchant princes, they've begun to change their ways. They were known for hundreds of years as liars and cheats and thieves and smugglers and pirates, constantly raiding our merchant vessels that would leave Cormier. It's what's led us to develop our more isolated political stance. We don't offer assistance to our neighbors, and we don't expect any. But in this case, I feel like an exception should be made. And as our spies have been telling us of these undead uprisings, myself and Mikos Selkirk have agreed to meet. We do so tomorrow. We shall be marching out later tonight in a caravan. Many of my men are already on the fields where we will be meeting in case things go wrong, and I imagine that Mikos will do the same. There is a treaty to be made. And yet, it seems there's a war to be fought as well. What can you do to help us with this treaty to make sure that the Sembians don't betray us and align themselves with Fae? Omen looks up at this point and he goes, I could probably help. Then he goes back to eating his stew, kind of just looks up.
Maggie says, what are you thinking?
Well, I have a very particular skill set, as you've seen. I believe that perhaps I could get us across the Lake of Dragons unnoticed. You see, I have a guy for that. Because if you're interested, I could probably get a small force over into Thay. We could do some reconnaissance. We could find out what's going on. And I may even be able to, maybe sow some seeds of dissent between Sembia and the Thayans. Contract here, contract there. Next thing you know, I've got a new opportunity for a franchise to go in. It works. It's a win-win for everybody.
That would leave us free to carry on to Mirkwood.
I think we're the force that he plans on putting in there.
Is that right?
He says, yeah, unless you've got somebody else in mind. I know Jim certainly doesn't want to go. He hates those guys. Yeah, fuck Thay, Jim says.
Fucking Jim.
God damn it, Jim. I don't think I've hated someone more in this world than Jim.
Next, he's going to say he's a doctor.
Yeah,
It's not his job.
What, Doug's? You know?
Aranith understands what's going on, but she's also getting impatient because it seems like every time we're about to go to Mirkwood, something else happens to keep us away.
Maggie asks, what does he need? What does he need done with this advance guard? What does he need them to do?
Well, my thoughts were just simply to gather information. We don't really know much about the Thayans outside of the fact that they, generally keep a pretty tight grip on their area.
Maggie says we've got a flying dragon with a mixed race of crew. There are forces of Waterdeep with our orcs. Are there any, could we have the Orc Marines or the Water Davian scout?
Where are they back here?
Sorry, I'm thinking of dirty jokes. I don't mean to make my mic key up.
I think there's always room for a dirty joke.
Was it about tight grip on their area?
Yeah, it was. It was like I saw it. It was in Thailand, and I saw.
Yeah, I was
tight
muted,
grip
and
on
I was
their
like, nope,
area.
too late.
Shaped golf balls coming out of a hoo-ha. That's where my mind went right away.
Yeah. This is a, there's a picture of Raedra. If you guys are curious what she looks like.
Oh, that's the Karen lady?
Yes, this is the Karen lady.
It's like...
It's a semi-Karen haircut. It could
I don't
be a
feel as much Karen right now.
It's like hot Karen.
Post-Karen.
Well, yeah, I mean, hot Karens do exist. They're just...
Karen's already
they're
talked to
not-
the manager. Like,
They're not full-blown Karens yet. They're like three-quarter Karens.
So you're telling me that this woman is the purveyor of laws in this city?
That is accurate. She is the High Queen of Cormyr. She actually, not just of the city, but she is the queen of all of Cormyr. As is recognized by all the cities contained within.
Okay. Is there any chance that I could get like cartoon hearts shaped over my eyes or something?
I'm sure Jim could hook you up.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little prestidigitation. Jim pulls out his wizard registration, holds it up for everybody, and then ding, just zaps you with some sparkly hearts.
So she's gonna go sign a peace treaty with the Zemnians, right?
Yep, with the Symbians, yep.
And it'll
And
help.
Odin wants to send us to Westgate to sow some discord between the Zemnians and the Thae, or...
Well, here, let's go to the world map. So you can assume that there's a map hanging on the wall somewhere here. Ooh, something too much.
As
find
usual.
Let's see. So you guys are up here. In Cormyr Sembria area. There are a few nations in between Thae and where you guys are. So, little marker action going on over here. So you see Thae. We're on this side. South of Thae is Chesenta, down here. Oop.
Placenta,
Chesenta, yep. Like
not
the game.
placenta.
No.
That's where Maggie's from.
Yes, that is where Maggie's from.
In both cases.
Weird.
That was great. That was great, Dave. I appreciate that.
So it seems that the forces of Thae have gone via ship, and they've actually begun to invade like the edges of the Dale Lands and Sembia over here. The Cormyrians and the Sembians will be meeting somewhere around here. You guys are down here in Suzail right now. And this is the capital city of Sembia over here. So yeah, the idea that Omen has is to transport you across the Sea of Fallen Stars here, past the Pirate Isles, to like this, to the land of Thae, to be able to kind of run a recon mission. But knowing what you know of where your forces are, you guys are free to act however you would want. That is simply his suggestion, is that perhaps there may be something to be learned in the country of Thae.
Yeah, Maggie agrees with, well, I don't know, yeah, if they should, like, ask for a moment to go discuss this amongst themselves. But yeah, Maggie agrees with Ariane that, I don't know, it's kind of another distraction from where we've been aiming, and is wondering if the Orcs or the Water Deviants or some other allied group that's nearby could do the reconnaissance instead.
He didn't say how he's going to get us back either, so... I mean, that's a ways away. We're going to need a dragon to supplies there.
Okay. So you guys are leaning towards sending someone else to Thay. Did you have anyone in mind out of your groups? I mean, you guys have access to a dragon that can fly people around and get them to where they need to go. As far as Omen would tell you, he has a person with a secret underwater ship that he can get you all the way across the sea without being detected by anyone on the surface.
And would
Sounds
it bring us back too, or?
He could set up a rendezvous point. Yeah.
But that would be, I mean, that's got to be a several-day mission then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he says if perhaps the Water Davians or the Orcs would be willing to undertake that endeavor.
I would imagine the orcs would be pretty good at reconnaissance, though they would be a little bit conspicuous, depending on what the landscape in that area is. I mean, is there places like for people to hide and observe?
Yeah, and Reggie would be able to let you know Thayans have often employed groups of orcs in the past, so a group of orcs wandering through Thay wouldn't actually be that out of place.
Yeah, Maggie's into that idea and says, you know, if we're agreed on that, I'll talk to Ashnak, or Val can do that.
Yeah, I'll let Ashnak know.
Does Omen think that's a good idea?
Yeah. Omen tells you he thinks whatever will make him money in the long run is a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like if they're used to orcs being there, that if anything, that might even be a little less conspicuous than.
He says, Jim, why don't you bring the guy in? Jim kind of rolls his eyes and he goes, but my dove. And he goes, fine. And Omen reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small diamond and touches the dove and brings it back to life. And it just starts flapping wildly around Falk, pecking at him and trying to scratch it at the top of his head and stuff. Unsuccessfully. It just stays just out of reach.
Oh, okay. 'Cause I was going to take another
Yeah,
swing at it.
It just keeps dive bombing and zipping back out. And before you're able to swing at it, a man-sized Jim opens a man-sized portal, and through it steps Jarl Axel. He says, "Oh, hello again. Omen, what can I do for you today?" He says, "We need to hook some orcs up with a ride. You still got your sub?" He says, "Well, yes, of course." It's all right. Meet us at the docks. When do you guys want to leave? And he looks at you. Or that is, when do your orcs want to leave?
Well, let's. Yeah, so Maggie, if they can step out and talk to Ashnak, she'll use the sending stone. Let him know the idea, and find out if he's interested and how soon they can get there.
Okay, yeah. So you contact Ashnak, and he acknowledges the orders, and says, "Fucking ain't right. Love that. Get some action. It's been too long. I'll get some of my best boys. I actually got a perfect group in mind for this sort of thing. I'll meet you in the hour. We'll take the dragon ship down there. Can you just warn them not to shoot us out of the fucking sky?"
Maggie says, "Will do."
All right, over and out. Thanks,
Bring my dad with you.
Oh yeah.
Bring the corpse. Got it. All right, so within an hour, you start to hear screams from outside as the peasants in the area notice a large white dragon flying towards the city, and it comes to a crashing halt outside of the castle. Probably just outside the castle. And assuming that you had warned the guards, they don't actually fire on it or anything, but there's still terrified screams from all the villagers below, and people are running out of their houses with pitchforks.
Maggie asks for permission to cast thaumaturgy, and if given, she'll yell out, "Be not afraid," which, in typical biblical fashion, does not mean they're not going to be afraid.
Yeah, Raedra has no problem with any religious stuff happening. It's just wizards specifically that the law dictates must register. Priests are sort of left to their own devices, although you didn't see a large number, like you didn't see any temples or anything in town. It seems to be a rather agnostic town, we'll say. So yeah, you call out to them to not be afraid, and some of the people kind of are looking at you, and others are still looking at this white dragon. A few of the braver townsfolk have even approached it, and as they do, the ass end opens up and just unfolds like the old trapdoor pajamas do, and out comes marching about 24 orcs or so and Ashnak. Along with, I believe Arlo and Munley were both with them. Last I knew. I think they were all together still. And Munley the dog as well. So they greet you when they see you, and you say, so what's the plan? And when Ashnak steps out, he says, well, I'd like to introduce you to the newest addition to the Tyrell Orc Marine Corps Forces. This here is Uzgrabag's Undead Recon Force. And from the ship steps the last 8 of the orcs that step out of the 24 or so, walk up, and you notice a fetid stench coming from them.
Oh, God.
And they immediately march up to you and salute Valk. And you detect... Or you smell this smell, and I'll have you make a Constitution check to see if you keep your lunch down when you smell it or not.
Ugh. Is that everyone or just me?
No, just you, because they marched right up to you.
Fuck. I passed that.
Okay, so yeah, your iron stomach holds its oatmeal. Oatmeal. And
I've seen enough of these idiots, and they disgust me, but they don't nauseate me. I'll say. I'm used to this shit.
So one of these undead orcs salutes you, and when it does, its pinky finger falls off its hand and just drops to the ground. And he says, "Ah, shit. Yes, Lieutenant, our Urztrabak reporting for duty, sir. Sorry about the list. Part of my tongue fell off yesterday."
Shut up, you disgusting maggots.
Sure, yes, sir. At this point, Valk, you feel a tugging on your coat pocket, and you realize that the hand is like trying to get your attention.
I thought you put the hand in the bag.
No, the hand crawled back into Valk's pocket. So it as soon as you say what, it starts pointing at the orc, and it gives you a big thumbs up.
Oh, okay. I'm doing this for God. This is my quest. It's a holy quest. This is all right. Okay. All right. Okay.
It then turns itself over so it's standing on 2 fingers, like when you're doing the little walking man thing, and it actually salutes the undead orc with its thumb.
I just shake my head and like roll my eyes.
Like, you know the cover of the movie Stripes, where it's got the hand with the military helmet on it?
Fucking
It's
love
standing-
Stripes. Stripes is
standing
the
on
best
2
movie
fingers.
ever.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Definitely Bill Murray's masterpiece.
Maggie knocks the hand back into Falk's pocket before any of our new friends see it.
I pick up the hand and I slap it back and forth and I shove it back in the pocket. And I really hope that the hand doesn't assume that was like a high five, like I was slapping it like Three Stooges style.
Yeah,
But anyway.
you're trying to slap it, and it's giving you the secret handshake. You go to punch it, and it's just dabs. It just gives it dabs. And it goes back into your pocket, and Uzgrabak looks at you, and the He says, so what's the mission, sir? Ashnak looks at him and he says, you speak when spoken to, you grunt. Now, please, Chaplain, would you inform... Bless you.
Thank you.
Would you inform your ward here what his mission will be?
I'm sorry. Someone remind me what I'm supposed to tell these idiots to do. I just have no patience.
Recon.
Yeah, we'll get Omen to give directions.
Oh, God. All right.
Omen steps up and says, well, thank you, miss. So you've all been chosen for a very important mission. You see, the very fate of the realms depends on you. I know that usually you're probably more suited to tasks like, pillaging and, stealing treasure from, dragons, I hear. That's a thing you do. But this time, you're going to have to be a little bit more stealthy, a little more quiet. You're going to have to go in and blend in. Find out what these wizards are doing and see who their allegiance is to. Are they working with this other lich, Malakani? Are they working with the Sembians? We don't know. That's for you to find out. And he's being all dramatic when he's saying this, and he's like making these big gesticulations with his hands. And when he's all done, Jim stands up and starts clapping, but Jim's the only one. Binwin burps. Ozgerback looks at you, kind of questioningly, looks at Omen, and he goes, so, you just want me to go find out what these guys are doing? Oh, okay. We can do that, right, boys? And you hear, from the rest of them. They all do half-hearted salutes.
Zach, don't I have to go with them, right, to control them, or are these guys part of some other thing?
Well, these particular orcs seem to have been turned in the last battle into undead, but it seems like perhaps their orc curse is just a bit stronger than the curse of undeath itself.
Nice.
Yeah, because these guys are coherent.
Yeah, they're able to speak a little bit and stuff. Like, they're not particularly clear, but...
Alright, so then, yeah. We're like, you worthless sacks of ichor and bone are going to go recon, blend in, find out what those red wizards are up to, and then come back, hopefully in one piece. And if any of you should die on the way, well, so be it. I don't care.
One of them shoots his hand up like he has a question.
Yes.
Sure, what if we already died on the way?
No, not... I mean, die... You know what? Just go. Can you just go? Just go.
Okay, so they... Omen begins to kind of usher them out of the room, and, like, some of the servants are in the corner puking from the smell. Like, they just can't handle it. The Queen Raedra looks quite offended at all of this. She's like, so this is your plan? You're going to send undead orcs to go spy on undead wizards. All right.
Yeah, that's the plan. We've come up with much dumber plans that have had way bigger payoff, so I think we're okay.
Well, I suppose we have nothing to lose, she says. Provided that these peace accords go well, we will march our forces into Sembia to maintain the line against Faye's forces. If this other lich Malakani's forces come from the north, some of my smaller towns will need defense. Do you think that your Waterdhavians would be able to muster and protect that area?
Absolutely. I don't see why not. Yeah, any intel you can give them about where to stave off the troops, they'll take that and they can follow those directions.
Very well. I'll send out messengers to the Stormwatch Mountains in the north. what they're called. Storm something. She says, and what of your hobgoblin army you speak of? What are your plans for them? I hope not to just unleash them upon my fair kingdom.
We've asked the humans to help the townspeople evacuate and the hobgoblins to stay harassing the orcs and falling back so they don't lose any of their own. So we can ask them to be on the front lines. And keep harassing Malakani's forces as they come south.
Ah, guerrilla tactics. Yes, that makes sense.
Verbally harassing them as well.
Oh yeah, insulting, questioning their mother's origins.
Yes, I've heard hobgoblins have quite an array of colorful language. And what of you? Do you have any desire to accompany me to these peace accords? Or shall you be on your way to, where was it, Grimwood?
I mean, if the peace accords are tomorrow, maybe we should get to that at least till it's signed and then head to Grimwood.
Aranitha nods her agreement with that.
Yes, a friendly presence
I
would
also
be appreciated.
I would love to sit on peace accords.
I also step forward and ask if I may confer with the wizards about the gem that we've been carrying.
Oh, well, yes. I can have my court wizard take a look at it if you wish. Where did you get such a strange artifact? It's very beautiful.
It was carried by the enemy general.
Really? Must be quite a powerful artifact indeed, then.
Yeah, there's people's souls in here, so maybe we could help them.
Yeah, help us break this.
You wish to destroy it?
We wish to free the souls.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
We wish to make sure that any lich cannot use it for evil, and free the souls that are trapped within it.
Well, that certainly is a valiant goal. I shall fetch my court wizard. When she does so, she calls for one of the servants to go running, and maybe 15 minutes later, this elderly man, stooped over with a long white beard, comes kind of ratcheting his way in, and he climbs up onto a stool to be tall enough to look at the gem where you've placed it on this table. And Jim says, "Can I get a look at that?"
Don't touch it.
Alright, so Jim leans over very close to it, and he pokes one finger out, and just as you're about to be like, "I said don't touch it," he goes, "I'm not touching it. Can't get mad." Omen says, "Jim, behave." Jim sits down and looks sad again.
You're the fucking worst, Jim.
He's just like a spoiled brat. It's awesome.
I'm just gonna look at the party and be like, after we get rid of Malakani, the next person we get rid of is Jim Darkmagic.
You have my axe.
You have that Lord of the Rings moment.
And my
you
staff.
have my axe and my staff.
My hammer.
And my power. Sorry.
Yeah, Omen looks at Jim and says, "Jim, yeah, why don't you just go in your hole for a little while?" And Jim goes, "But Omen," and no, go to your hole. And he opens up a hole and a rope comes out, and he climbs up the rope, pulls the rope back up in, just disappears. One hand comes out and he grabs his dove as it flies by, pulls it up into the hole. So Raedra looks at the rest of you and says, "Well then, I'm glad that this is settled. You'll accompany me tonight. We will travel down the East Road, and we'll make our way to, sorry, I got my icons over the barbers here. We'll make our way to the area in between Derloon and Mulhassan. then that's where my forces have gathered, and I'm assuming that the forces of Selgon will be there as well. Is there anything else that you wish to accomplish while you're here before we leave? We have a few hours before we set out.
Does the wizard tell us anything about the gem?
Yeah, beat me to it.
So, as she's asking you this, the wizard's been kind of looking over this gem. He says, "This is very odd indeed. Do you know what this is?"
We know it as a...
It was a rhetorical question, dear. He says, "This is called a Soul Monger." And he begins fully mansplaining what it is to Arianth.
And I cut him off very quickly and say, yes, we know that.
Like, literally, he's just telling you all the crap you already knew about it. He says, well, according to most of my texts, the Soul Monger was a unique item, but it was destroyed about 10 years ago by an adventuring party somewhere in Chult.
Apparently not.
I don't know how this could be here unless... Oh dear. The only one that could have reforged the Soul Monger would have been Larlock. Larlock, you see, and he goes on to, like, he just sort of is now talking to the room. He says, Larlock, you see, he was a very ancient lich. Many people think he is more of a myth or a legend than a real man, but texts do mention his name from around 300 DR. Reminder, it's like 1493 DR right now. So he's talking about a guy that was around like 1,000 years ago. So Larlock was widely rumored to be one of the first liches, if not the first lich ever heard of. Perhaps you've heard of Vecna or Asarak, both students of Larlock.
Okay, how do we get the souls out of this one, though?
Yeah, can we break this, please?
This can only be destroyed by a very powerful magic. You would need.
What about the power of friendship?
Yeah, this city is run by wizards, right? Like, or...
Yes. But I don't believe that any of the wizards here have the power to destroy this without risking great damage to themselves or the city. You see, when this is destroyed, it will most likely release its energy in a very explosive fashion. Compressed souls that don't do well, I hear.
Is there any way to use this as a time bomb, per se, against our enemies?
Oh, now there's an interesting concept, he says. Weaponizing a Soul Monger. I'll have to do a little research. Miss Raedra, if I could have your permission, and yours, Miss, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name?
You never asked.
Aranith.
Yes, Miss Aranith. If I could have your permission to examine this for just an hour or so in my study. I have a few experiments I could perform, and yes, perhaps I could come up with something.
I mentally ask Reggie if I should trust him with this.
Absolutely not.
No.
Reggie says, it's a very dangerous artifact, Miss Arianth, and as I know from personal experience, sometimes wizards' experiments can go a little sideways, so it may be best to keep an eye on it while he's working on it, at least.
I say perhaps at some point we can look at it together, but I do not wish to let you take it by yourself.
Well, very well. Accompany me to my lab, then, he says, please.
Maggie asks the Queen, can we all have dispensation for magic cast in the city?
Why, didn't you register with the wizards? Or register with the magistrate as wizards? Are there wizards among your party?
There are no wizards, but we were
There are
told
technically no wizards.
there are no wizards, but we're told that all magic is regulated. Is that only for wizards?
Oh, well, you see, here in Cormier, wizardry is regarded as a sort of social standing. The reason we make people register is so that we know where they stand amongst our citizenship. You see, a wizard is much more valuable as a citizen of Cormier than, let's say, a farmer or a simple cleaning maid, such as this one over here. And she sort of points at one of the girls, and the girl just looks all kind of like ashamed that she's just a cleaning maid.
Maggie glowers.
Yeah, so Raedra says, so we have to have a way to determine which of our citizens has the most value, and obviously a wizard would be of much higher value. We don't see much in the way of non-wizard spellcasters. I mean, is that really a thing?
Apparently, there's 3 of them here.
Maggie says,
Well,
if
4 if you count the
you're
ranger.
not concerned about the exercise of my goddess's power and Arian's knowledge and other such magics, then we're all good.
We also have
My
God
magic-
power.
My magic comes to me naturally.
I thought we were trying to keep Falk's magic quiet.
Paladins have, even good paladins have good magic.
His whole being is mind control at the moment, so.
Not there. That's no. Technically, no.
yeah.
Technically, we have no wizards in our party. Technically.
Mind control.
Well, I'm not a big fan of technicalities, she says, but I suppose, as your intentions are good, perhaps just this one time, we could let you use this loophole, although I assure you, our laws will be adjusted to account for such things in the future. And she sort of squints her eyes at Valk and looks a little suspicious at the conversation you were just having.
I squint back because I don't like the fact that the person who creates the laws doesn't like technicalities.
So as you squint back, she tries to squint harder.
All right, I'm about to roll intimidation on it.
We should have some kind of like contested roll.
Yeah.
The
So you can
squint off.
squint the hardest. Yeah, squint off.
Well,
Definitely.
I'll let you know right now, she just rolled a nat 20 on her squint.
Wow.
You cannot squint that hard.
She squints so
You'll
hard.
never squint that hard.
You actually
She's
think,
proficient and has expertise in squinting.
Yeah, you think her
Yes.
eyes might just be closed. She might have just
God damn
actually
it.
closed her eyes.
You just get out squinted.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put my face again. It remains unmoved, but my heart has been filled with a chill that is greater than when I died.
Yeah, like the sad music from the Incredible Hulk plays.
you wonder if your gods have forsaken you. For a second.
I go to the ring and I whisper, "What the hell did you guys do to me?"
So are you guys cool with me going to confer with this wizard about the gem for an hour, since we have a few hours to kill anyway?
Absolutely.
Do you need
Sounds fine
backup
to me.
or?
Not usually a question I hear every given day, but yeah, sure, go ahead.
And by now, also, out of the dragon, too, has come, I wrote her name down, Keora and Rohan, carrying Rohan's body.
So yeah, now that they've got permission, Maggie suggests to Tohan that they go revive his dad.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Raedra offers you a chamber in the castle so as to be discreet.
Maggie thanks her and takes her up on it.
Alright, so while you guys are doing that, I'll go talk with the wizard, because I have a few things I want to ask him anyway.
So yeah, you guys are performing this. You're all. I guess Maggie would be performing the ritual, correct?
Yep, Maggie performs Revivify.
Alright. So describe your ritual to me. Like, what does it look like?
She lays him down and sets up a hearth around it in the room and starts the fire gets something cooking, and then kind of lays her hand on his chest and prays to Hestia to restore his life. And I guess the diamonds are in the fire or something. I don't know.
Okay. So yeah, as you're chanting and you're placing the diamonds into the fire, the diamonds are slowly beginning to glow red hot, and they eventually just begin to melt into a pool. But the pool retains its like shiny diamond-like quality, so it's super magic-y looking. And as you finish your prayer, you hear a voice come through, and it's not a particularly unkind voice, but it is stern. And it says, "Your will be done, child, but be wary. Shazar rises. He comes to both defend and destroy this land." And then the voice fades out from your head, and you can only assume that you were just blessed with a message from Hestia. And as you open your eyes from this message, Rohan sits up like Uma Thurman in Pulp Fiction. Like just completely freaking out.
I like tackle him back down with like a hug. Dad? You're back.
Yes, and Kaora runs over and hugs you both. And Rohan looks very confused, and he says, Tohan? Tohan! My boy! Where are we? What is this place? Who are these people?
We're in Cormier. This place sucks. But we're gonna get us somewhere better.
Oh, fucking Cormier! I hate that place!
Right.
He swears like his son does. A tear rolls down Volk's cheek.
We have much to discuss. Let's go grab a drink and place to stay for the night.
Alright, well you guys have probably about 3 or 4 hours before before Raedra plans to take her entourage and start heading east on the roads. In this time, you guys could definitely find an inn. It's probably located, or a tavern, we'll say. The inn probably does not have drinks. There's probably very strictly regulated, like, separate your sleeping quarters from your drinking area, from, like, your shops, it's all very stodgy here. Nicely built, nice architecture, all carved out of stone and stuff, but just stodgy. You are able to see Jarl Axel has a vessel in the port that the orcs are boarding, and as they sail off, Omen calls out to you. He says, "We've decided to go with them. We just in case they need a little documancy." And Jim has climbed down out of his hole and is standing with Omen, and he kind of waves and he goes, "We'll see you later, everybody. Doves!" And doves explode out from his hands. And then they climb onto the ship. And as the ship sails out into the port, it immediately sinks below the surface of the... And it does not look like a submarine, it just looks like a ship just sank. People are kind of gathered around, they're like, "Whoa, look at the ship sinking." And it's just gone, out of sight. So yeah, you guys are, you find a tavern. Arianth, in the hour that you are spending in this guy's lab, he is taking all sorts of strange potions and tinctures, dripping them onto the gem, writing notes, going, yes, interesting, very interesting, scribbling notes furiously. That's a shout out to Quillen in our other campaign. And he says, "Well, I think conceptually, yes, we could devise some sort of a way. It would be a combination of a wish spell and a power word. Yes, I can see it now." And he begins scribbling furiously, and he scribbles on the scroll several arcane symbols. And he takes the scroll and he folds it all origami style into a box and gently places the gem within it. And he says, when you wish for the gem to be destroyed, you must alight this with a source of fire, magical in nature. You'll have about 2 minutes to get away.
Elf lady, hit it with the stick. Hit it with the stick.
I would get as far away from this as possible if I were you, if I were going to utilize this.
Yeah, I can shoot something at it from far enough away.
Yes, don't drop it on your way out either. It would be a shame if part of Raedra's castle were to blow up before we left.
Okay, when I do this, would the souls be free? I wouldn't be like destroying the souls in the process, would I?
No, I don't believe so. You see, souls have a destination that they are bound for when they leave their mortal coils in the realms. When, for instance, when an evil person dies, they typically would be sent to Avernus or to one of the other evil planes, depending on which gods they worshipped. You know, if one were a worshipper of the god of the dead, Celeborn, for example, they would most likely go to Mount Celestia.
Which is lovely this time of year. I just want to throw that in there.
You like poke your head around the corner of the door.
Okay, so basically, I place the gem where I want to, burn this paper, and run like hell.
Yes, just be careful when you place it. I wouldn't, perhaps maybe wrap it in some blankets or something. Just be careful transporting it. Maybe a bit unstable.
Yep, gotcha. Do you have any kind of container that would help with that, perhaps?
Oh, here, let me see. And he goes to his shelf and he begins tearing through things. And he pulls out what appears to be a small bag. And he hands it to you and he says, "Try this. It's a bag of holding."
Nice. Awesome. That'll come in handy.
So do you
I
place...
say thank you. And I also... Yeah,
You place the gem inside of it, I take it?
I asked Reggie, does this sound like a good idea?
He says, well, again, in your head, he says to you, well, sometimes bags of holding can have unusual effects on objects, but mostly no. They just sort of act like a pocket dimension. They hold whatever it is. As a matter of fact, something like this, a device that's, dangerous in nature, a bag of holding is typically a fairly easy way to dispose of it if you were to be able to set it off inside of the bag somehow. It might cause some adverse effects to whatever else is in the bag, but it should be contained, I would think.
Well, that's a good to know as an option, but and I have other thoughts of how to use this if we have the opportunity to do so. I asked Reggie in my head if he thinks this wizard is trustworthy for me to ask about finding other parts of the staff.
He says, well, he seems to be on the up and up so far. Yes, I would say so.
And then I thank him, and so then I speak to the wizard and ask, basically give him a short rundown and with not too much detail, but enough to understand what I'm talking about, and ask him if he knows of any places where I might find other parts of the staff.
Oh, I had no idea you were such a scholar, Lady Arianth. Yes, he says to you that he knows of the Rod of Seven Parts. He's very familiar with its story. He actually is aware that there was a wizard once from Cormyr who apparently was obsessed with the staff. He doesn't know the wizard's name, but the tale goes that several years back, this wizard's quest for the staff led him to be so obsessed that he actually transformed himself into for the quest for the rod, he transformed himself into a staff. So he essentially, third party tells you the story of Reggie.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
As like an urban legend.
Uh-huh.
Reggie goes, oh, he's got a few details wrong. I didn't try to become a staff. It's just sort of oddly worded. Always hire a
I
lawyer
kinda-
when you're dealing with other wizards and transmogrification.
I smirk and chuckle to myself. Well, and then I ask him, "What do you know? I know of this already. Thank you, but do you know of any other pieces of the staff or heard any rumors?"
He says, legend has it that their staff has a way of finding its way into some of the most dangerous locations, almost as a test for those that would find it. Whether this is by the will of the gods or the will of the rod itself or just pure coincidence, I don't know, but throughout the years it has typically been found in powerful locations, areas that are guarded by fierce demons, strong magics.
That certainly has been the case.
As,
Thank you very much.
As I told
Sorry,
you about
go
the nation of Chult and the Soul Monger before, at one point, I believe one of the rod's pieces was located by that adventuring group, but I know not what happened to it after that.
Interesting. Thank you very much for your information.
On your way out, you place the gem into the bag, and as you're placing the gem into the bag, you notice a small inscription on the inside edge of the bag, and it just says, "Beware the Bagman."
I asked Reggie what that might mean.
He says, "Oh, that's a bit of old superstition, Miss Ariant. You see, legend has it that there's a bit of a spook called the Bagman, and he long ago was a member of an adventuring party, as the story goes anyway, and the rest of his party was they had cast him on watch, and when he was on watch, he supposedly had fallen asleep, and when he awoke, he saw that monsters were about to overcome his companions, and rather than rouse them, he climbed into a bag of holding that he had. Now, this is typically considered to be a very bad idea, as bag of holdings do not possess very much in the way of air or food or water, and as the legend has it, this man became lost in the bag of holding. And he traveled, surviving for several years on whatever he could find within this realm. And the legend has it that certain nights of the year he will crawl out of a random bag of holding throughout Faerun and attack whoever it is that is holding the bag and try and find his way back to his homeland, wherever that may be. Just a silly superstition, I assure you. Nothing for you to worry about.
Oh my god. Sounds like we need a bag of holding for a bag of holding.
That's also a
That would be a
really
bad
bad idea. Yeah, the wizard goes, "No, don't do that!"
Ariant, were you going to ask him about...
I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, were you going to ask him about a way to, like, keep the hand from scrying?
Oh, thank you for reminding me. I relay our whole thing with the hand and ask him if we should be concerned and if there's anything we can do about it.
He says, "Oh, that's most interesting. Here, let's consult this text of necromancy." He pulls this big book off from the shelf, and it's just got these arcane symbols all over it, and a bunch of dust comes flying off from it. And he opens to a certain page, and he says, "Yes, I was just reading about this the other day. Now, mind you, I purely study this for the intellectual purposes, and I'm not a practitioner of the dark arts, but it's good to know your enemy, you know." He says, "I read here, it turns out that often when an undead's body part is severed, it takes on a whole personality of its own. It doesn't necessarily retain any of the emotional characteristics or intellectual characteristics of its host body. So it would seem that if you do in fact have this undead hand traveling with you, then it seems like it would be its own persona or its own item."
Can it be used to scry for us though by our enemies, or being that it is now its own entity that link has been severed?
Well, a body will always retain some bit of link to its host, or an appendage will, that is. But yes, I would say that it perhaps could be used to scry on a party if we were carrying something like that, especially if the person scrying was familiar with the hand.
Is there anything we can do to camouflage it, for lack of a better word?
He says, I have this big meat mallet, you could hit it.
No, I mean to from scrying.
Oh. Well, yes, I'm sure that it would be quite fine in the bag of holding.
We tried that already. It climbed out.
Oh, yes. Well, that's a bit of a pickle, isn't it? There must be a spell here somewhere. Ah, here it is. And he hands you a spell that, he tells you, or it's a scroll, and he tells you that the spell contained on the scroll will in fact conceal any one object or person from divination magics.
Is it a one-use scroll, or is it something I can learn and be able to cast?
Yeah, it's like a one-use burn spell scroll. Like, so as soon as you use it, it's gone.
Cool. I'd say thank you very much. All your help has been invaluable. And now I have one last thing to ask of you, if you have it, and I'd be willing to trade spells or gold for it. If you happen to have a second level alchemy book, I would be much appreciated.
Oh my, you are a true scholar, aren't you? You really are quite an impressive young woman. Well, yeah. He reaches up to a shelf. He pulls down a book. And he says, you say you have something to offer in trade? I wouldn't want to part with such a precious tome without at least something valuable in exchange.
I have spells of mending. I can mend things for you. I have a earth-moving spell that I could use for you.
Ah, simple cantrips. Those, I can do those myself.
What do you think would be a equitable trade that I can offer you?
Well, that's quite a nice staff you have there.
No, that is non-negotiable.
Oh, very well. What about... Oh, that's a nice crystal you've got around your neck as well. Is that a focus?
It is.
I would accept that Feywild shard in trade, then.
I'd be willing to part with that if perhaps I know for certain that book contains potions that are well worth such a important gem.
Yeah, absolutely. As he thumbs through it and he shows you, and we'll say that it contains the list of potions ranked as uncommon. So there's like common, uncommon, and rare potions. I believe are in the DM's guide. If I'm mistaken. Just double check real quick. MNOP potions 3914.
I asked Reggie if he thinks that's a fair deal, or if I should ask for more.
He says, well, it depends on how adamant you are about being able to make these potions. Some of the potions that you'll be able to make with this book are quite powerful, but you'd still have to get the ingredients for them.
One of my biggest pursuits is knowledge, Reggie. You know that.
Yes, and I understand it well.
But do you think the knowledge that I would receive from this book is worth this gem? Or should I ask for some other added bonus to go with this?
He says, well, the Feywild shard is quite a powerful artifact, but I mean, you don't really need it for your focus. You've got me, after all. But, perhaps see if he could sweeten the pot a little bit.
I say thank you, Ricky. I say yes. I am leaning towards agreeing with you, but I can't see trading such an important and rare gem for a book. Is there something else you can add to this as well?
Well, you drive a tough bargain, but let me see what I've got here. Let's see. Something cool. Here's some stuff. Make some quick rolls for stuff. He says, how about this? And he hands you a set of goggles. He then snaps his fingers and he sticks the goggles on your head before you can really object. Snaps his fingers and all the lights in the room go out, but you can still see completely clear as day, as though it were not dark at all.
I raise my eyebrows and say, you do realize I'm an elf.
Oh, haha, of course, my mistake. You probably don't have much use for this, do you? Let's see, what about, God damn it, I rolled a bag of holding on the fucking magic item table. That's dumb. That's not gonna go. Let's see what else. He says, oh, here's an interesting one, and he pulls a cloak off from a chair. And let me look up some stats for said cloak.
I honestly hope it turns out to be the cloak of chair covering.
I was hoping for the cloak of billowing.
That's a good one too.
Alright, he tells you that while wearing this cloak with its hood up, you can breathe underwater, and you have a swimming speed of 60 feet. Pulling the hood up or down requires an action, meta-wise. And he calls it the Cloak of the Manta Ray, and it actually looks like a big manta ray with the tail and everything coming off from it.
Here's where you tell him you're a sea elf.
I nod my head and say that is an acceptable deal.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. And he takes the Feywild shard, and he sets it up on like a little stand and puts a glass-like thing over the top of it on his desk. He says, well, we'd best be getting back. I'm sure your friends will be anxious to be on their way soon.
I say to the wizard, you have my utmost gratitude, and in the future, if there's anything I can do to help you, please let me know and contact me.
Why, thank you, Miss Aria. It's been a pleasure to meet you as well. Alright, so you guys you have a couple of hours, we'll say, like an hour or two before the party departs, or before the queen departs.
I quickly explain to the whole party what we've done with the wizard and what will happen and how we can use it. And also the fact that we could also possibly use it, if all else fails, to be a bag of holding to detonate it as well.
Yeah, so at this point, Valk, you hear something coming out of Guilfoyle's pouch. And it is Lenny, and Lenny has now trying to speak. If you open the bag and kind of look into it, Lenny, hang on. Lenny just looks up at you and he says,
He says something?
Yes, he says in this guttural, undead voice, Valk, we're gonna work on a ranch, Valk?
Did you?
Well, I want to live on the fat of the land. I want to have rabbits. Can we go there now, Valk? Let's go there now.
No, and I close the thing shut.
Oh, that was good.
How long have you been sitting on that one, Zach?
Right around last week. I was like, best mice and men quotes. Let's see.
Oh man.
So, yeah.
I guess so. Maggie's gonna cast a sending spell and talk to Kvizik. Basically, just tell them the plan that they just discussed with the Queen. Have them kind of come up on the left side of that, or the west side of Malakani's army, and keep doing the guerrilla stuff to keep their forces from dying.
Okay. So yeah, he tells you that that's acceptable. He'll block off the pass, the western pass. The Water Davians, assuming that they are patrolling the road essentially between Tilverton and Arabelle and warning the people. And along with that, the Orc Marines they're sort of doing the monitoring Malakani's forces as well. So you've got a good northern line built up. Any other downtime stuff anybody wants to do? Because that's pretty close to what I had prepped for tonight. I mean, there was one combat encounter, but I don't want to get into it because we've only got about 20 minutes left, and I don't think that'll fly.
Yeah, I gotta get to bed early. I have
Yeah,
to
I
be
gotta get my
up early
kid
to
in.
travel to Syracuse tomorrow.
We're taking a break this week from your game too, right, Bill?
Yep, my game is not happening. I don't have a laptop, and I'll be in a hotel room.
Yeah, I'll be in Jersey next week, so I don't know if I will make next Sunday game or the next Wednesday game either.
Okay.
All right.
I guess Maggie will kind of like pull folks aside and just let them know what she heard from Hestia. She's like incredibly, she's very flushed and excited and kind of horrified.
Yeah, big scary dragon god that might be coming back as per your god's instructions.
I'm going to shoot a quick prayer up, and because there's a lot of things annoying me lately. So I'm just going to ask if if we're still on the straight and narrow, and if they can continue offering their guidance. I don't know what I have to roll for that, but I'm.
For a
Religion?
prayer, nothing.
What's that?
I said for a prayer, unless you're asking for something specific religion-wise, like you had like a request of your god just for better circumstances, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm asking for.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, you can
if
roll
I
a
have to see,
religion.
if I have to see Jim's dark magic space again, I'm fucking losing my mind. Ugh, 7.
Okay, yeah, the voices of the gods are silent, so you don't know if your prayers will be answered or not to not see Jim again.
Shit. Okay.
And yeah, so this is amongst whatever other downtime stuff you guys get done in that last few hours there. You would set out, and being as that you're setting out with a fairly large contingent of the purple dragons, you are not bothered along the road. It does take you the remainder of the day and into part of the night to get there, but you arrive at a camp that looks pretty much as thus. You see several people, several ranks of military, some bowmen, and a few of the wizards of Cormier on one side of the area, and a sort of on the other side of a fairly wide road, you see what appears to be the Sembian forces gathered. So that's where we'll start you guys off next time. Other than that, awesome game tonight. Sorry I didn't have a combat session and I wasn't sure if we were going to get to it. I had one other one planned from you guys traveling from the forest, and then I was like, I don't know if it's even worth it, because it was literally like one creature. So I'll save it for later, and you guys will do it later. I mean, I don't do that. I don't ever recycle encounters that I don't use. Totally do.
Well, because I'm not going to be here this time, I'll probably get my parents set up with some golden stuff that I had from my stash.
Yeah,
and
we could even assume that you're taking you're like, okay, guys, I got to spend some time with my parents.
Yeah.
That's.
And then I'm probably going to get them passage on a ship as like far away as I can toward like where there isn't like a giant army of undead.
Yeah, send them back west somewheres.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
and then meet up with everyone else.
Yeah. I mean, technically, you guys still have access to the dragon ship too, so you could even send them on the dragon ship, and it would be like a day's ride or something.
Yeah, but I'm not quite quite sure if we need the dragon ship for other things to take it up just to use for transport when we're in like a port city, I mean, I guess we could see.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I don't know. To set them up with gold, that's kind of at your discretion of whatever you want to set them up with.
Okay.
And yeah, you can totally do that.
Maggie,
150 gold's a lot of gold, right? Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a pretty considerable amount if you're like not in a high Suzail is like it's like going to like Beverly Hills or something like that. It's kind of meant to be like an expensive place, but most
you're like Newport, Rhode Island, or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like once you get outside of there, everything gets cheap.
It's like $25 ATM fees. What the fuck?
Maggie asks the queen if there's any clairvoyance kind of things that she could help with, but I guess she's got wizards for that anyway.
She would also tell you that sort of magic is strictly forbidden in her kingdom.
Gotcha.
That would fall under that mental mind control, mind invasion type magic. It would also just be generally frowned upon by them as like a cultural thing, I think, because it's like honor amongst thieves sort of a thing. Like, I won't read your mind if you don't read my mind. I'm sure it happens in Cormyr a lot, but it's like, it's considered pretty dodgy probably to use that sort of magic.
Yeah. Well, even against the soul, whatever they're called,
Yeah, even against your enemies, it would still be considered like dishonorable. The Sembians probably have no such qualms, though.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, I'll post a little lore video of both Cormyr and Sembia, and probably Thay too, because there's some good ones on there that are about 5 minutes long each. So, some more background info on the area where you guys are right now that I can give you. Cool. I didn't want to post it ahead of time because I didn't want to necessarily spoil anything, but all this info is pretty much stuff that you could gain, like through, you could consider it like meta role playing, where it's like you could ask somebody like, hey, what's this all about? Basic history. It would probably even be included in some of the books that Arianth has, the history books and stuff. Yeah. So next time, could be a big battle, could be a piece of cord, could be something entirely out of left field that comes at you guys.
Have a good night, guys. I'm gonna take off and go to bed.
All right, guys.
Good night, Bill.
Good night.
guys. Bye.
Night,
Yeah,
Bill.
I'm gonna bail.
See you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that.
Night,
That was fun.
guys.
Have a good night, Jen.
Good night.